Okay, so I actually started recording earlier and then it actually got deleted. So, second attempt at this, Alexis. Once again, now I have to say thank you to you for doing your little draft recap. I know how long it took you, I know how hard it is to actually sit down and actually look at every team and find the time to do a recap based on everybody. So, I do commend you for that. I thank you for that. I thank you for doing my team. I thank you for doing all the teams in the league. I also will be doing all the teams in the league as well. Maybe not tonight. More than likely not tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe Wednesday. Probably. But I just want to say thank you. It meant a lot to me, and although we disagree on a hell of a lot of things, the work that you put in is admirable. Although you may be misguided. So with that said, I want to look at your team. So in the first video I was making, when I was going draft by draft, I was going round by round draft analysis. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. The first eight rounds or so, you killed it. Similar to what you said about me and my team, I think you got a lot of great players and building blocks that are gonna give you a solid foundation for the rest of your year that you don't have to worry about. Um, I think probably my favorite pick of yours. I was commending the Contreras pick, but late round values, you also got a few of them. I'll point out Seager. Um, Seager was an amazing value where you got him. Not crazy about the Odor pick. Seager and Kinsler, I think, were my favorite picks. Older guys, guys who you know almost what you're gonna get with, but where you got them, the production you need production at that point, and in those positions, I think they're not gonna kill you. They're not gonna hurt you. They're actually gonna contribute, and they're gonna do a good job. And it's something you could set and forget in your lineup. Where I will kill you is your pitching. Um, I was talking on Sunday about how I don't draft starting pitchers in the AL East, and that's my rule, and it's a crazy rule, but it's not too different than a lot of people think. It's kind of drafting a pitcher in the AL as opposed to the NL because there's an actual starting pitcher that they have to go against. It's kind of along those lines, except that I feel the AL East is filled with juggernauts, and I don't want any part of that. Especially when you're picking a guy on one of the worst offense in that division, in that division, and then so you're going against the top four offense in that division. It just doesn't make sense. I don't believe Archer's a great pitcher. I believe he's a great strikeout pitcher, but I don't think he's that good. I think a 4 ERA is where his actual talent is. He hasn't been good for a few years now, and he's just name recognition. He'll throw together a 20K out in this year against some team that can't hit. Um, Tanaka did that against the A's last year just to prove a point, and Tanaka was horrendous. But he ran into a team that strikes out a lot, and he had his good stuff that day. I mean, any pitcher on any day could throw a perfect game. Phil Humphrey threw a perfect game. Um, it's just the fact of the matter. If it's your day that day, you know you're going to be the best pitcher in the world. You're going to be the best pitcher in the world. Nobody's going to stop you. I don't think Archer's a top 30 pitcher. I think it's a little outlandish to say, but I think it's factual. There's a 30 pitcher that would have over him right now. I just don't think his skill set is that good, especially for where he pitches. If he pitched in ANO, I wouldn't be having this conversation. But it is what it is, what his numbers suggest. And then I'll talk about your official ace, which is Paxton. I've referenced him as Kershaw, light. Um, he's that good when he's healthy. And I think everybody in this league who's had a share of him at one point or another, when he was healthy, would say that he was set and forget it. You're getting 7 or 8 quality innings of 10 strikeouts with a low WHIP and a low ERA with less than 2 runs, maybe 5 runners on base at the whole day on the whole game, and he's fantastic. But as Gus can attest to last year in this league, once he went down, Gus wasn't doing so well anymore. Um, Sorry for the interruption. Somebody walked in the room. So going back to what I was saying about your pitching staff, other than that, I think your pitching staff is awful. Um, I like the relievers. I like the little run of relievers you went on. in the middle rounds. I think you got solid picks. I love Doolittle this year, not just because he was an Oakland A, but more so because I think on Washington, knowing he has the role, he'll save 40 games this year. Um, you have Iglesias, you have Diaz, you have Knievel, you have four amazing closers, which we've all learned that saves are more abundant than holds as a particular stat, whereas the leader in saves normally has about 15 or 20 more than the leader in holds, which is just the way it is. Granted, there are more holds to go around in the game, whereas saves, you only have one chance at a save opportunity. So going on, I hate the Melanson pick. I don't think Melanson's going to pitch this year, or pitch well at all. He's barely pitched this spring, and I just don't think he's that good anymore. I think the Giants wasted their money on him. While we're on the mention of your pitching staff, I like the J Happ pick, and I also love the Kevin Gausman pick. You could obviously tell those are jokes. Those are all AL East pitchers, and with the way I said it before, you know how I feel about that. But I think your best pick out of your pitching staff was the Tyon pick. That is an amazing pick where you got him. I can't believe he was still on the board. I can't believe a lot of people remembered him. Forgot about him. Because for the simple fact, he overcame cancer. Sure, the Pirates might not be the best team, but I think we all know what his potential is. He was one of the top upcoming prospects for a few years now, and I think last year he had a solid year, and I think he could improve off of it again. So if I was to rate your pitching stuff, I think it's middle of the road. I think you need a lot of. I don't trust your pitchers at all. I love your closers. I love your relievers. I think they're great ratio guys. On top of that, so I understand what strategy we're going for. I think you'll be picking up pitchers off the free agent market, so I don't think you're done. So I'm not going to grade you entirely on that. But I think you're middle of the road. I haven't looked at all the other teams, but I think you have a solid. You have an amazing back end. I'm not sold on your starters, but there's potential there if they really focus on it. So going to your offense, I think your top 6 hitters are amazing. I'll read them off in terms of where you drafted them. You have Turner, you have Freeman, you have Yelich, you have Cruz, and then the other 3 that I like are Seager, Kinsler, and Zimmerman. Zimmerman, another health risk, but he had an amazing year last year. I believe he was number 7 on the player rater. He came back down to earth a little in the second half last year, but he was still an amazing player, considering what he did at his age. I think where you got him, there's no risk involved. You could drop him and pick up a first baseman right off the waiver wire if that's what it came to once he got hurt. Just talking about what you got in the first 3 rounds, I think there's solid first round production maybe from all of them if things break right. Freeman is an amazing hitter. Turner is an amazing hitter. And I think Yelich is going to have a breakout year. I don't think I'm alone in thinking that about Yelich. I think I made my sentiments clear about Yelich, where you got him. Although some would consider a reach, I think it was an amazing pick. I think that was where if you wanted him, you needed to go get him. Also, I overlooked Contreras. I think where you drafted him ahead of Posey, that was a risky move. But as somebody who loves Posey, I think that was the right move. I think Posey's best days are behind him. I still think he'll hit 300, 310. But he's hit, 21 homers over in the last 2 years. That's not an average, that's total. Contreras could hit 21 jacks in 100 games if he wanted to. And he's in a much better lineup. He's in a great roster spot, lineup spot. And I think he's an amazing player. So I think where you got him, I believe, in the 6th round was a good pick. Going on, I think the biggest problem with your offense is the top 7, 8 are good, but then you have nothing at the bottom. You drafted guys like you have no outfield. You drafted Hanley Ramirez when you already had a DH. You drafted Rougned Odor, who I'm sorry, the guy he could hit 20-20, but he'll kill your average, he'll kill your strikeouts, and he doesn't get on base. So he's killing you in more ratios than what he's helping you in. So he's not the type of guy that I target. And I think you could have made a smarter decision. Renfro, I don't even think is starting. I think Zimmer is a popular sleeper pick. I'm not personally on him. I think he was known more for what he did with his defense, but as we've seen with that team in particular, Lindor himself is a prime example of guys who are known for their defense that have amazing offensive prowess. So when we actually look at the team as a whole, I don't think it's a bad team. I think your offense is solid enough to win you 5 or 6 categories any given week, where you should be favored in those categories. And I think your pitching is solid enough where you might win most of the ratios just because your bullpen. All your starters need to do is really just maintain. And if you're going to stream some starters from here and there, I totally get that too. That would also make a lot of sense. So I'm totally with you on that. I'm trying to analyze the different strategies, trying to look at it from all angles. I think you're not done with your starting rotation. I think you're definitely set on the bullpen, and I think you're set at the top of your lineup in terms of your roster. I think there's going to be moving pieces in the outfield. I think that's the only real spot where you have a genuine weakness on your offense. But I think the outfield is the deepest position, so if you're going to have a weakness, there's going to be guys coming up. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be playing time opportunities. And there's plenty of guys out there still that are very cheap that you could get to really fill those holes. So if you want to have a weakness, that's a great weakness to have. So that and your starting pitching, I feel, are your two worst. Your two Achilles heels, so to speak. So those are two that I would address. I'm not going to do your little format where your values were, or like where do I see this team. I see you making the playoffs. As long as you manage correctly, you're going to make a few trades throughout the year. As long as the injury bug doesn't bite as well, I think you have a solid chance to make the playoffs. I think you'll be a 4 or 5 seed. I think I'll see you in the playoffs, although you don't think I'll make the playoffs, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that if I'm not first, I'll probably be seeing you in the playoffs, probably around the 4 or 5 seed. So I anticipate maybe a first round exit for you in that case. But with that said, your team is overall solid. I didn't hate your draft at all. I actually loved it in the beginning. It would have been nothing different than what I did. So I want to give you kudos to the way you drafted early on. Just not a fan of your pitching staff in terms of starters, and not a fan of your outfield. But you have the building blocks in place. There's no reason you can't make a deep run, get into the playoffs, and maybe make some noise in the playoffs, depending on where your roster is at when you get there. But other than that, I think I covered all the bases with your team. I hope you appreciate this video. And I just want to let you know that I can't wait to play you. Can't wait to knock you out of the playoffs if you do make it. And can't wait to do the rest of the draft analysis for the rest of the league, guys. So this is Joe signing off, your league champ.